Right.
All right, in this video, I want to go over section 2 and section 4 in chapter 2 on nutritional information. And so this first section, section 2, looks at really just some basic fact or fiction type scenarios, just a lot of key information or good information that we should know. Most of this is pretty common sense. We've probably seen things like this before, but it's always a good reminder to kind of look at this type of lesson. They start out here kind of talking about how should we be how we should be a critical consumer of nutritional information. In other words, if you're the one purchasing foods and dietary things inside of your household, we need to be knowledgeable. We need to have the right knowledge about the things that we're buying. And so one of the questions is, where are we getting this information about whether it's maybe some kind of dietary supplement, or are we looking at the food labels when we're getting certain types of foods? How are we, where are we getting our information from? Most people are probably not reading scientific journals about a particular drug or particular medicinal dietary supplement, anything like that. So where are we getting the information? The main idea here is to be critical, is to do our research, really do our homework and try to find out, is this a trustworthy site that we're getting the information from? And so, like I said, this is just kind of, we'll kind of go through this kind of quickly, but they give us a lot of little tips and quick information about things to look for, and even red flags to kind of look for as we are, kind of going through our nutritional journey, if you want to call it that. First thing here is to not assume the information in the popular media is reliable. In other words, we can't, everybody's heard, we can't always trust everything that we see or read. I mean, if it's on, you just Google something, we want to believe it. We want to believe that it's reliable, but we have to be careful. We have to be critical of information. And so we just got to be careful about where we get some of the information from. We need to do our homework. We need to make sure that if we're looking at things online, we need to make sure that those websites are reliable. We need to be careful about where we, what type of media we're getting our information from. We should be careful about ads for nutrition-related products. Everybody's seen, some kind of dietary supplement ad, whether it's a weight loss type of a dietary supplement, or something that boosts our immune system, or whatever the case is, maybe a protein type supplement. Just be careful about those products if they're highly relying on just testimonials and anecdotes or personal experiences, personal stories. In other words, just like we looked at in the first part of the chapter, we need some scientific evidence. That's what we should be looking for. Now, there's nothing wrong with some testimonials, and if you buy something online, if you go to Amazon and you buy something online, you want to look at those reviews that are there, because that's a testimony. That's a personal experience. A lot of times we kind of look at those reviews. We see how many stars there are. But even then, we still have to be careful, because how do we know those are true reviews, or how do we know that those are gonna, if it's accurate for one person, is it gonna work the same for me? So again, we just have to be a little cautious. And so that's puts the responsibility back in our hands as consumers to kind of do our research and make sure that that information that we got from, wherever we get it from, whether it's a magazine article or online somewhere, or Facebook, or wherever we get our information from, making sure that it is accurate and reliable, so that we are best protected for ourselves. We do have to be careful, because there are places that have pseudoscience or false science. They make it sound like it's evidence-based. It makes it sound like they've gone through some scientific method, evidence-based studies, but do they have those references? Do they have the research journals to kind of back up what they're trying to say? So as a consumer, what can we do? Well, we need to make sure we're asking certain questions, or at least asking questions to ourselves, or as we're watching the news or the advertisement or whatever it is. One question that we may need to pose is, what's the motivation behind this particular product or that they're selling, or the information that they're having here to promote, right? Is it just obviously they've got to make money from a particular product, but is that the whole motivation, or is there some true benefit in that particular product? Do they have an actual scientific based article as their scientific source? Just like if you're writing a research paper and you've got to have some sources to cite your evidence based essay or whatever you're writing, we should have access to the evidence-based information on a particular supplement or a particular product we're trying to buy. You could go a step further and say, well, maybe they do have a citation. How was that research conducted? We could do a little investigating there. And what kind of journal is it? Is it really a nutritional journal? They have does it come from a medical type journal, like Journal of American Medicine, different types of nutritional journals out there, or is it some journal that we've never seen before, is not really widely known? So what are some of the red flags? Maybe you could kind of think of some of these as we go through, and this maybe not be there's a lot of ones that we'll kind of quickly go over. It probably is not an exhaustive list, and maybe you've seen some of these before. I'll show you some examples, but a red flag is if the product offers a promise of very quick and easy results. You're going to lose 10 pounds in a week or something. That's kind of a red flag. And so it kind of goes, many of these kind of go together. Does the claim that product is making, doesn't really sound too good to be true? There again, losing 10 pounds in a week. You may say that, if that's your goal, is to lose a decent amount of weight or a large amount of weight quickly, but is really that the safest way to go? And that's probably not, the sounds, way too good to be true. Sometimes they may try to sell a product using some type of negative ad or even a scare tactic. In other words, if you don't take this product, you're going to have this result, right? They're trying to almost make you feel, make you feel kind of like an impulse to purchase a product, make you kind of feel guilty if you don't purchase a product and try it out. And so kind of beware of those that use any kind of negative promotional ad or scare tactic. I don't know that I see this very often, but it's, be aware if they're trying to make some kind of personal attack on the scientific community, registered dietitians and scientists. That's probably a red flag as well. Statements about the superiority of a certain dietary supplement or unconventional medical practice may be a red flag as well. Let me show you an example. I just found this online. This is kind of this is an actual supplement. You can look this up. It's called T-Lite, and you can kind of see right there in bold, it says lose up to 10 pounds in 3 days. Not recommended. That's generally just too much on the body, and it's probably not going to really happen. And a lot of times they'll have like a little statement somewhere on the bottle that these are not typical results. These are not the typical results that you would expect to find. So that's kind of a big red flag. They're in bold down here. They're like, you got to start it today. They want they say it's going to cause you to live better naturally. And so these are kind of things to kind of be aware of. Other red flags, we've already talked about the testimonials, information that promotes a product's benefits while overlooking its risks. Just about every product that you look at, you kind of have to take into account, well, are there any risk in that particular product? Many times they have some type of maybe not, many times there is some kind of side effect to taking that particular product. Maybe not always, but sometimes there's a side effect. Is there a side effect mentioned? Is there any kind of risk mentioned? If they don't say anything about it, and again, it's just a red flag, doesn't mean it's necessarily completely not helpful. It just means it's just a cue for us to do a little bit more research. Is the product sounding kind of vague or meaningless, or maybe they're throwing out too much scientific sounding terms? You know, they're trying to say all these fancy terms that you have no idea what they really mean, but they sound good. And so you have to be careful about that as well. Again, doesn't necessarily mean that it's necessarily bad. It just should be a red flag for us to kind of do a little bit more homework or research on it. Be careful about those disclaimers that are very small, very difficult to read, or if it's a advertisement we're listening to that goes very, very quickly. This is one I think the textbook shows in a figure there. It says lose up to 10 pounds a week. Notice a little asterisk there and some very fine print there at the bottom. And you can kind of see where they talk about some things here. Inherited biological, environmental, and psychological factors impact an overweight person's ability to lose weight. Also, each person's usual daily food intake and exercise habits differ. They're trying to kind of explain away what happened, you know, why would this product not really work for you? Well, it could be other factors they're saying. As a result of these and other factors, individual weight loss results may vary, and typical results are not possible to determine. So, you know, does that mean this is not going to work? No, not necessarily. But there again, it's kind of a red flag that should kind of get us to thinking about, is this the right supplement for me? Should I do more research? Should I talk to my healthcare provider? Probably so. I would say yes, you know, because there's probably much more safer ways to lose weight if that's your goal there. Obviously, we had to be careful with information on the internet. I know that's our go-to many times. That's what we're just accustomed to doing, Googling something, going to different websites. When you pull up those websites, I don't know if we look at this a lot, but you know, try to use sites that end in .gov or .org. Those generally have more reliable type of information. Rely on sites that are managed by actual healthcare professionals. I don't know that I've seen this a lot, but your book kind of mentions this symbol that should be on websites. It's called HON. HON stands for Health on the Net, and there's a foundation there that's supposed to kind of endorse those websites with good information and reliable information. We've already kind of mentioned this. Be careful about websites that don't have reliable or valid sources. Be careful about websites that are asking a lot of survey type information. Be careful about sites that are attacking the medical community. Be careful of sites that are just.com. Just kind of, you know, do our homework is kind of the bottom line there. Section 4, we're going to skip section 3. Section 4 is goes to dietary supplements. We mentioned briefly dietary supplements in chapter 1. We're going to see this in one of the case studies we look at, and we'll have some activities kind of throughout the course looking at dietary supplements. We mentioned this before, that 1994, there was a Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. They helped to define what a dietary supplement is and what it is not. And so these are 3 of the main criteria that dietary supplements kind of fall into. One is that it adds to a person's dietary intake. It contains one or more dietary ingredients. It may include nutrients. Kind of by definition, we've mentioned in chapter 1 that nutrients kind of fall into the category of like carbohydrates and lipids and proteins, minerals and vitamins and water, things that are helping the body, helping our cells to go through the natural growth and reproduction of our cells and the overall health of the person. It could include botanicals, chemicals, or other plant materials, herbs, fall into that category. It is required by this act that dietary supplements are taken by mouth. In other words, they are not injections. They don't require any type of intravenous type of injection or anything. They have to be taken orally. And they could be part of a concentrate, metabolite, constituent, or extract. In other words, they come in different forms. Usually they're a concentrate. They take they extract out a particular plant metabolite or plant chemical, and they concentrate that, and then we put that into a tablet form. Lots of different categories for dietary supplements. Probably the most common may fall into multivitamins and minerals. And so you see this next time you're doing some shopping, whether it's online or you go to wherever you do your grocery shopping at, grocery stores or other chain outlet places, Walmart, wherever you go, look at those aisles that have different supplements. Take a look at it and kind of see what they offer. You'll see usually quite a few different types of supplements there. Many of these are multivitamins. We'll have a chapter talking about vitamins, or it could be minerals. Vitamins could be A, D, E, and K. Vitamin B, vitamin C. There's many different forms of vitamin B out there. So it could be a combination of these kind of put together. That's the multi part of that vitamin. Minerals could be calcium or magnesium or iron supplements. Nutrient pills, protein powders are very common. Herbal extracts, those are very common as well. There's a table in your textbook. I want to try to bring this up and show you. I pulled up the ebook here. There's a nice table. It's very complete. It's just, you don't have to necessarily go through everything in the table there. I just want to kind of show it to you real quick. It's got a list of some of the more common dietary supplements, some of the major claims as to what they are claiming to help with, some of the benefits that they have, and then also some of the risks that have been identified. Some of the risks may not have been identified, but you can kind of scroll through here sometime and look at some of these. Maybe you've seen some of these before. Echinacea, that's a plant extract. It claims to help boost the immune system. They usually show whether or not there's scientific evidence, or if it's lacking scientific evidence. Echinacea, they report here that it has mixed results. So it seems to work good for others, some people, not well for others. And then they show whether or not it leads to any kind of risk or side effect. Some of these you may not recognize at all. Garlic has been shown to lower blood cholesterol levels. And so if you have high cholesterol, you may want to look into adding garlic to your diet, or they make a supplement that has like a garlic extract there. Ginger, ginkgo you see from time to time, ginseng, herbal teas like green tea. So you can kind of scroll through there. Melatonin, a lot of people are familiar with melatonin and how it kind of helps treat some sleep disorders and things. So take a look at that table 2.2, kind of get a little information there. Last couple of things we'll look at as far as dietary supplements. We mentioned a little bit of this in chapter 1. Dietary supplements are regulated as a non-traditional category of foods. So essentially, according to the FDA, they're not drugs. They don't have strict regulations as far as testing goes, as far as drugs do, just like drugs do. And so they're in a category of foods. So that means they bypass certain types of regulations. Now, it doesn't mean that the FDA doesn't have any control over them. If they find that a particular supplement is having a negative impact or is causing a problem, then they have the authority to either pull that from the shelf or have the company change something in that particular supplement. There are good supplements out there, if you want to kind of use that term. There are, when the supplement's used properly, they're generally safe. But you do, again, have to do your research. You have to, again, talk with your healthcare provider and find out, one, do you even need a particular supplement? Most of the time, many of the times if we have kind of a well-balanced diet, we can get most of those nutrients that we need naturally in our diet. But sometimes we're kind of missing something. Sometimes we do need a supplement. And so again, check with your primary care provider and find out if a particular supplement is needed. And if so, what is the safe amount to take, and find out from them. Sometimes plants, we think of plants as being completely safe, but sometimes those herbal plant extracts may actually have toxins that can build up in our system. And so some of these are plant extracts that sometimes are part of supplements, and they will be listed on the ingredient list usually, and they can build up in our system and can potentially be toxic. Other factors to kind of consider, and I kind of mentioned this already, but determine if the supplement is really necessary. Check with your physician or a registered dietitian. Definitely check with a physician, pediatrician before giving to children. Consult your medical provider as soon as you notice any kind of side effect or any kind of symptom that may result from that particular supplement. All right, guys, that's all for chapter 2. I hope this was helpful, and thank you guys for watching.